Hey Heart Healers, William here again. It's been a while since I've posted a video on here or pretty much really been active on this page for a while. I've had a lot of, personal upheaval going on in my life, and I've had a lot of other things on my plate that have sort of inhibited me from being able to sit down and record these little videos and write the posts that I do to share with you guys. So my life is somewhat settled down again, and I have some time today on this beautiful autumn afternoon. I'm pretty sure my head's probably going to get sunburnt here because I don't have a hat. But yeah, I wanted to sit down and record this just really quickly to share a little bit of insight on something that probably most of us can relate to, and that is our negative behaviour patterns. And whenever I say negative behaviour patterns, what I'm referring to specifically, if I use myself as an example, my own personal negative and self-sabotaging behaviours and thinking processes, is that when I'm feeling anxious or depressed, or if there's significant emotional turbulence in my life, I tend to withdraw from the people that are closest to me, and as an alternative or as a sort of replacement for the people I'm withdrawing from, I replace those people and the emotional support they can give me with food. And I've said before in previous videos, food for me is extremely important for my entire well-being, physical, spiritual, psychological, mental, emotional. All of this is encompassed for me with food. The way I eat is incredibly important to me. It may not be for you, but for me, this is one of the most important things for my own personal well-being. Now, if I bring this back to a situation that has currently been going on in my life, and I suppose somewhat is a semi-frequent occurrence, I have an intimate relationship at the moment with a loving partner, and I'm sure she won't mind me using our relationship as an example to sort of share this with people. What I still struggle with, and I need to emphasize again, I have done considerable work personally and with professional guidance and help to sort of get me to the point where I'm at currently, in which I am able to have a level of self-awareness emotionally, psychologically, in myself and also with others as well. But what still sort of comes up for me, again, semi-frequently, is I find it difficult to not express myself emotionally, but to sort of express boundaries or set boundaries with people, and whether that's colleagues or friends or intimate partners. And when something happens, and I'll use myself and my partner as an example, when something happens between us and I see it as a sort of infringement on a boundary that I have set with either us or just I've internalized in my mind, I will find it challenging to sometimes have that conversation to say, hey, this has upset me, this behavior has made me feel this way. I just want you to acknowledge that and see if we can sort of work around it to come to a more amicable compromise so that we can both continue living peacefully in one another's company. Now, as I said, this doesn't always happen for me, and what will happen if I am not consciously aware of myself is that I will slip into old negative behavior patterns. And when I do that, the old behavior patterns I slip into are withdrawal and food. So what I will tend to do in that situation, if I cannot express the boundary that I've sort of felt has been impeded upon, I will retreat into isolation and often hide in my room, and instead of seeking emotional support or communicating this with either the friend or the partner or whoever it is that is involved in the situation, I will replace the emotional support that they can give me with food. And what I'll tend to do is eat a lot of really crappy food, really sugary food, really comforting food, stuff that I used to eat as a teenage boy going through a lot of emotional disturbance as well. So pizzas, chips, Chinese takeaways, crisps, chocolate, all this really unhealthy stuff. And bear in mind, I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. I'm a plant-based eater, so having this in my body is often taken as a shock, and it doesn't really process well with me. And again, it's important to emphasize here, as I said before, that the way I eat is incredibly important for me. Physical exercise and the nourishment that I give my body and the sleep I get are the three most important things for me in my entire life to keep myself grounded and stable and well. And when I deviate from this, it exacerbates the sort of anxious feelings and stressful feelings and depressive feelings that I will get, because my internal critic will start to criticize me for deviating from the things I know I need to do in order to stay fit and healthy in my body and mind. Now, you might be asking why I'm sharing this with you, or why I'm sitting down to record this video, or why I'm telling you this story that has been impacting my life currently. And the reason is very simple, because through my inability in these situations to have open communication and to express myself, and by then slipping into that old negative self-destructive behavior pattern, it then has a trickle-down effect on the rest of my life, and that also impacts me in every other area of my psychological, spiritual and emotional well-being. And maybe you're sitting here thinking, well, I don't have an issue with food, I don't use food to comfort myself, I don't withdraw whenever I need to communicate with my partner or friends or loved ones or anything like this. I don't use any of these sort of coping mechanisms or negative behavior patterns to get on with my life. But the point of this is to highlight that there will be something that you hold, there will be some negative thinking process, or there will be some negative behavior that you do regress into whenever these kind of things do come up. And I think one of the most relatable ones, and one that I have experienced with my own life and I have been very public talking about, is the abuse of drugs and alcohol. I would have been a very unconfident person, filled with anxiety and shyness and fear and no self-worth and no value in myself, and I would have used drugs and alcohol in my earlier years, from a teenager until I was probably 27, so that's only up until 2 years ago at the time of this recording. And I would have used this because I didn't know how to sort of behave in social situations, or how to make friends, or even how to talk to girls, something I've struggled with in my entire life due to the lack of confidence, and using the alcohol and drugs as a crutch to sort of give me that false confidence. And even when I had that, I still couldn't really do these things. And what I want to highlight today is that, yes, you may not experience the same behavior patterns or the same negative coping mechanisms that I'm talking about here, but what I want you to do, and the purpose of this video, is to bring your mind now to a situation for you personally, nothing to do with me, for you personally, in which there is a behavior or something in your life that you want to change, where there's a way that you wish you could react or handle a situation differently. And that might be, as I said, setting a boundary with someone, or expressing your emotions with a partner, or standing up for yourself in the workplace. Now, these are all things that can be confronting and scary for people to do, males and females alike. And what I want you to do is to visualize yourself in this situation right now, and just notice how your mind or body reacts. You can even pause this video and take a minute or two just to sort of observe. I want you to really consciously visualize and sit here, even with your eyes closed, and just imagine yourself in this situation now. See yourself reacting in the way that you normally react. See how that reaction makes you feel. And then I want you to ask yourself a really simple question. What would happen if I didn't react like that? What would happen if I reacted in a better way? Now, when you start to do this, when you can start to consciously observe the way that your mind will speak to you whenever these instances arrive, this is when you can then take the power and control back into your hands. This is when you can then reprogram the way your mind reacts and speaks to you, and the way it conducts itself in these situations that lead to these personal problems that you have, that may be inhibiting your emotional connection with others, that may be stopping you from making a positive change for yourself that you want to make, whether it's stopping to smoke cigarettes, or stopping to drink, or maybe starting to exercise, or to take that risk in your job, or to apply for a promotion or something like this. Whenever you start to bring awareness to the way the mind reacts at the prospect of doing these things, that is when you can start to change. And again, I always feel it's important to emphasize this point, that if you are trying to make a change, and especially trying to change the way that your mind talks to you, that little voice that you have in your mind, just be conscious of the fact that your mind has been behaving in this way your entire life. You might be my age at 29, or maybe you're 39, or maybe you're 19, but your mind has been conditioned in this way your entire life. So when you do make these changes, you have to be realistic with it, and it's not going to happen immediately. This is something that has forged itself in your mind over your entire lifespan, and relearning how to think and unlearning the things that your mind currently does is a process. And day by day, week by week, and month by month, you will slowly start to notice the shifts and change that your conscious effort to retraining your mind is having for you and having on your life. So I ask, if you're still here and you're still watching this, if you give this a go today, be kind with yourself and just remember that what you're unlearning is not going to happen overnight, but day by day, moment by moment, the more you can introduce this mindful awareness and catch the way your mind is speaking to you, the more chance you have of being able to change what you want to change in your life. And that's it for me today, guys. With peace, love and joy as always, goodbye.